And if I'm right about any of this,
Yeah.
war is where it breaks, where the base then says to Trump, "No, brother, we told you anti-war. We didn't go tell you to help Israel invade Iran. No,
I'm
no,
not
no."
even sure about this. And I think this is really, I don't know that this is an ideological disagreement. I just don't know that we're on agreement on the facts. I'll give you a counterexample to what you're talking about.
In this specific clip, David Pakman sort of confronts Cenk on his latest appearances on right-wing media shows, showing up with Charlie Kirk, and overall just his potential switching of sides that a lot of people are calling for. In this specific clip, however, Cenk defends his surprising new takes, even suggesting that MAGA might start turning on Trump in Israel. Yeah, you heard that right. Is this a genuine evolution of his views, or just another pundit trying to stir the pot? Let's get into this clip and find out, and of course give you guys my unfiltered take.
Yesterday, Trump does this crazy press conference at Mar-a-Lago. During this press conference, it was like 30 minutes long, he suggested taking Greenland and the Panama Canal with military force, taking Canada with economic force, and unleashing hell on Gaza, or allowing hell to be unleashed. That doesn't sound very anti-war. And when you look on the truth socials and everywhere else, it's people defending it, memes about all of the Americas in an American flag. They kind of seem to be just lining up behind whatever he says. I just am not seeing what you're seeing.
Yeah, David, that's exactly it. Because I dove in more, I'm seeing something that others aren't, and that's why I understand the skepticism.
But am
And
I wrong about the reaction to yesterday's crazy
you're halfway
tirade?
wrong. Yeah,
I'm
you're
halfway.
halfway wrong.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So I know I'm out on a limb here
Yep.
because believing that the right wing is going to turn on Trump on specific issues where
Yep.
they have disagreement when they've never done it before, I get that I'm taking a risk by saying that they're going to do that, right?
I question whether there is disagreement.
There is. So that's what I'm saying. So, and we're all going to find out with our own eyes and ears if
Yep.
I'm right or wrong, right? And you've seen me go out ahead of people before, right? Right, where I said in 2013, I said Bernie could beat Hillary Clinton 3 years before he had that historic run. I said Biden was too old and couldn't possibly win, etc. So now I'm saying, yeah, I see that disagreement. So, for example, on the what you mentioned, just like I said, Trump in the beginning goes to serve his donors, and so he goes, "Oh yeah, Miriam, like the Palestinians aren't slaughtered enough. I'll slaughter them even more, right? As long as you keep the money coming, right?" And he engages in his fantasies about buying Greenland or invading in Panama, etc. So the first reaction that folks are going to have is we're defending Trump, and especially when the left attacks him. No, no, wait, no, he doesn't mean invading Greenland. He means buying Greenland. He doesn't mean this, he means that. So will you get tons of that, 80% of that? Yes, right? And it's not quite 50-50. But do I see the 20% that is going, no, you're right. We didn't say invade any countries. We said anti war. So that kernel already exists on, and we're not even at day one. And when he actually, and what the number one thing they say is, guys, cut it out. He's obviously bluffing, right? And you're hurting his chances of bluffing when you say that he's definitely not going to do it, right? So, you know, if he goes to invade Greenland, he will definitely lose half his base. That is mental, right?
Lose half of his base over Greenland? I'm not too sure. I mean, this is Trump we're talking about. His base has stood by him through scandals, impeachments, and more wild statements than we can count. They didn't blink when he said he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose voters. And honestly, I believe he was right about that. Greenland isn't going to be the line in the sand. If anything, his base will spin it into a patriotic mission. Greenland has ice, America deserves the ice, or some nonsense like that. The mental gymnastics they'll do to justify it are Olympic level at this point. So no, invading Greenland isn't losing him half his base, it's probably gaining him a few more flag waving, it's probably if anything gaining him a few more flag waving fans. But honestly, I would be curious to see if this is actually true. Let me know if you guys agree down in the comments.
Listen, my best assessment in having reviewed all of the evidence and in talking to you here is I think it's clear you're not doing a Dave Rubin. I think your heart's in the right place. I think retrospectively, here's my prediction. I'm not big on predictions. I think in a few years you'll say, I was a little naive with my expectations. That, and I could be wrong, you could be wrong, we don't know. I think if there's a fault here, it's we've seen you're right, it's been a long time. And for 8, 9 years, what we've almost 10 years now, since Trump came down the escalator and said Mexicans are rapists, the highest value has been they ultimately do support whatever Trump wants. They don't really care about free speech or freedom or family values or money in politics. That's what we've seen for the last 9.5 years. I hear you saying it's going to change, but we are on the same page that it hasn't been that way, right? I think that part we do agree on.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, look, I could list you dozens of examples where they say they're against cancel culture, and then they'll say, "Well, we should cancel them," right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, look, but to be fair, the Democrats did the same thing. We're against cancel culture, but if you criticize Israel on a college campus, we're going to arrest you and take away your diploma. That sounds like cancel culture to me, right? So, I mean, but I can give you dozens of other examples. Oh, you're protesting oil companies, pipelines. We're going to pass a law in Florida that says we could run you over in our cars, right? I mean, it doesn't get any more cancel culture than murdering someone with your cars because they protested an oil company, right? So, and freedom of speech, they take away freedom of speech all the time. So I totally agree that the last 9.5 years, they have not shown what I am seeing that they're going to do in the future. And I totally agree with you, David, that we're going to come back 2-3 years from now and see how this went and see, hey, was I right that there was this, that their composition had changed and they were more open to a rebellion against Trump and actually had a mind of their own as opposed to being in a cult for Trump. And I get if you're on the left that you're like, no way, they're in a cult, etc. But guys, remember, we all live in bubbles. The Trump people have been in a massive bubble for a long time, right?
Yes.
But we've also been in a bubble. And our bubble says if you disagree with any of us 5%, we kick you out of that bubble and we call you a racist and a fascist and every word in the dictionary. And then we go, oh my God, how did we lose the popular vote? Well, you lost the popular vote because you pushed everyone out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I actually agree with Cenk here. The problem isn't just that Trump's base is isolated from opposing views, it's that both sides have completely stopped engaging with each other. Everyone is shouting in their own echo chambers, convinced they've got it all figured out. But the thing is, bubbles eventually burst, and when they do, the fallout is going to be messy for everyone on both sides. So to be honest, the political environment is honestly looking pretty dangerous, in my opinion at least.
And
no denying that. I'm with you 110% on that. That's for sure.
Yeah, and MAGA, when they hear me say things that they didn't even, you know that MAGA doesn't realize we're anti-corruption, the left is anti-corruption. They don't even realize the left is anti-war because Kamala Harris was like, Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney are my best friends. I'm going to go on a college campus tour with them, right? So the establishment is pro-war, and the Democratic Party, unfortunately, has become more establishment, right? So they look at it and they're like, they're super surprised that the left thinks is anti-war, anti-corruption, and all these things, right? When I talk to them about paid family leave, Patrick Bet-David polled his audience. 75% of his audience said yes, paid family leave. 12 weeks off for moms after they have a baby. That's arguably a conservative principle. I think it's a giant progressive principle. We know it's a giant progressive principle, but that's where the unity can come. But you can't pass any of these things or even have hope of passing any of these things if you tell the people who are in charge, who won the popular vote, we're going to hate all of you. We're never going to work with you. We're never even going to talk to you. So we have no hope of ever winning those votes back because you can't win them back if you're not talking to them, right? So but we don't live in a bubble. No, we also live in a bubble, and our bubble needs to be burst because unfortunately, some portion of the left has stopped being open-minded. And what I say on Young Turks all the time is our community is open-minded and open-hearted, right? We're trying to do the right thing and we're trying to get there no matter what. And what I would ask all of you is eyes on the prize. The prize is policy. If you pass policy, you improve actual people's lives.
Finally, a moment of clarity. Yes, policy is what actually matters, but let's not pretend that's what drives political discourse these days. It's not about improving lives, it's about scoring points, owning the other side, and keeping the outrage machine running. And while we're at it, let's not forget that passing good policy requires more than just talking about it on cable news. It takes compromise, strategy, and dare I say it, working across the aisle. Things neither side seem interested in doing anymore.
If you don't, all of us in media and politics are just playing ego games. Who's bigger? Who's this? Who's more pure? Who's the, the one that represents blah, 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 blah. That's all about ego. But actually getting policy passed affects your life. And you're not going to get policy passed going into your little bubble and calling everyone outside the bubble a fascist.
We know that won't work, that's for sure. Listen, Cenk, I appreciate you being on. I hope you're right about the vast majority of what you're saying. I fear you are wrong, but time will tell us, and then we will soon see. I really appreciate your time.
Time will always tell. So there you have it. Cenk Uygur and David Pakman trying to predict the unpredictable, and Cenk's continued opinion and exploration of, let's say, just the other side. Will MAGA turn on Trump? Will they shift their stance on Israel? Honestly, I wouldn't hold my breath, but what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.